Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we are going to learn how to make this awesome hat. And this hat was inspired by the Victorian step scarf. I will put the links below so you know what I'm talking about. There's a video tutorial for that one. And this, as you can see, is an adult size and it fits me. But you can also make it in a small size. Oh, one of my tails is hanging out. I haven't sewn in my ends yet. But anyway, you can make it in the smaller size too. I didn't have a model, like a foam model for this size. So as you can probably hear the cicadas in the background, it's actually summer here, so I'm going to take this hat off before I cook. And I hope you enjoy the video, so let's get started on the lesson. Also in the video I will show you how to make them anywhere from the newborn size up to a large adult. It's very easy to do, so this pattern is really great. You can make it for every member of the family. So let's get started on the lesson. The supplies we're going to need is 2 strands of different coloured yarn. I'm using grey, so I have a darker grey and a light grey. You're going to need a sharp pair of scissors and a sewing needle, yarn needle with a big eye on it. We're going to use a crochet hook that is smaller than what is recommended. I have quite loose tension, so this is worsted weight yarn, and for worsted weight yarn it normally recommends a 5.5 or an eye hook. We're going to need to drop down at least one if you have really tight tension, but more like 2 sizes in your crochet hook. I have to drop down, I think, 3 because I have such loose tension. And this crochet hook was supplied by Moonshadow Threads. It's such a cute hook and it is really nice to use too. The handles are really good. I will put the link below in the description box so you can see where you can go purchase your own. So to start off our hat we need to work the crown. And in this, to get the pattern of the hat, we need multiples of 10 stitches. Normally when I make hats I have multiples of 12, but this is different so that we can get the pattern sitting right on the sides of our hat. So we are going to make a slip knot, however you do yours. And this project we're going to use double crochet for the crown. We are going to chain 4. You could also use a magic ring for that step. We're going to join with a slip stitch. So you could also use the magic ring to do that. So instead of doing chain 4 and join, you can use a magic ring. We're going to chain 3. And in this project we do not include the chain 3 when we count our stitches. We are going to ignore the chain 3. Even though we still have to make it, we ignore it when we count our stitches. So we need 10 stitches in the middle. So we need 10 double crochets, not including the chain 3. So yarning over, going into center of our ring, magic ring or the chain 4. Yarning over. We're going to work 10 stitches. I normally just put in a whole heap and then I start counting. It saves losing count later on. So if you're using 8 ply, you're probably going to need a 3.5mm hook. Or if you've got loose tension, probably a size 3. And we need it so small because we need to get the pattern tight, otherwise it just doesn't look any good. Okay, so let's count, see how many you've got. 8. I've got 8, not including my chain 3. So that's 9 and 10. Zoom out a bit. I'm just double checking. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and not including my chain 3. So when I said we're going to ignore the chain 3, what we do is when we join, instead of joining at the top of the chain 3, which is what we normally do, we're going to join to the first double crochet. And what happens is this creates an almost invisible seam. So I've just pulled on the tail at the back, close up my ring. What we need to do now is put 2 double crochets in every stitch around, but we have to work our chain 3 first and then work 2 stitches into the same stitch. So you're going to have 3 in that first stitch, but when we come back around we join into the second stitch, so this stitch here, it's not counted. So in every stitch around, now your work is going to be tight because we're using a smaller hook. Working 2 stitches in every stitch around. Sorry guys, just getting some yarn. And at the end of this row we're going to have 20 stitches. So I'm just going to zoom along. So there is also a matching scarf that goes with this hat, and I will put the link in the description box below the video. So I'm just working my last stitch now. And we're going to have 20 stitches, so let's make sure. Yep, not including my chain 3. So when we join, we're ignoring the chain 3 and we're going into the top of the double crochet, which is there. Normally you would join here, but we're joining there. There we go. So it's going to start to curl up, but if you do that, it will lay flatter. Chain 3. So if you know how to make a basic hat, this is exactly the same method, it's just we started with 10 stitches instead of 12. We want to double crochet into the same stitch because we need, so remember we're ignoring chain 3, right? So we need 1 double crochet in the first stitch. We're going to increase in the next, so that's working 2 double crochets into the same stitch. We're going to work 1 double crochet into the next and 2 double crochets into the next. And we're going to alternate that all the way around, working 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And you can complete that all the way around to the other side. So on our rows we always end in an increase, and if you have not ended in an increase, you know you've done something wrong. So I would suggest if you don't end in increasing, go check your stitches, make sure you did that row right. If that row is correct, check the row before, because that's where your mistake's probably going to be as well. So when we join, poor old Mr. Chain 3 is getting ignored again. We're going into the next first double crochet and joining with a slip stitch. See how the chain 3 is just blocking in that hole that we normally get? Awesome. So flatten it out if you want to. And of course when you wear the hat it's going to stretch a little bit too, so all good. So chain 3. Work 1 double crochet in the same stitch. And what you've got to do is make sure you are skipping that chain 3, because it is very easy, and I have done it actually myself a few times. I've forgotten about skipping that stitch, and what you're doing is actually increasing on each round by 1 stitch, and your hat's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And even when we get to the side bits, it's still going to increase, and we don't want it to. So in the first stitch you've got 1 double crochet. In the second stitch we're going to work 1 double crochet. In the next stitch we're going to work 2 double crochets. We're going to work 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So another one by itself. Oops. In the next stitch we're going to work 2 double crochets. In the next 2 stitches we're going to work 1 double crochet. Then we're going to work 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So we're alternating between 1, 1 and then 2 in the next. So we're increasing in the next one. So it's over the next 2 stitches it's 1 double crochet in each. In the next stitch it's 2. And we're going to alternate that, or repeat that, all the way around, working 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then an increase with 2 double crochets. And I'll meet you back around at the end of the row. Did you end on an increase? And if you did, well done. If not, you will need to go back and check your stitches. So we're going to ignore the chain 3 and join into the top of the double crochet. So our next row we need to chain 3, work 1 double crochet into the same stitch, in the next stitch we're going to work 1 double crochet, and in the next stitch we're going to work 1 double crochet. So ignoring that chain 3, you've got 3 stitches like that, and then in the next stitch we're going to work an increase, so it's 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And you know on the previous row we did 2 stitches by themselves, so where are we? 2 stitches by themselves, because there's an increase here, and then 2 by themselves and then another increase. On this row we're going to work 3 by themselves and then an increase. So we've worked our increase, so it's 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, 1 so you've got increase, 1, 2, 3, and then the next stitch we're going to work an increase, so it's 2 into the same stitch. Then we're going to do our 3 again, so it's 1, 2 and 3. So you've got increase and then 1, 2, 3, and they're all by themselves in their own stitch, and then work 2 into the same stitch for an increase. And we're going to repeat that all the way around until we get back to the beginning. So it's increase, 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase. So now we need to join. Did you end on an increase? I hope you did. We're going to join into the first double crochet, ignoring the chain 3. And you're probably wondering why there is a calculator in the background. Excuse me. Well, I'm about to tell you, because we are going to figure out how to make a hat fit your head properly. So what we do, you're going to need a calculator and also a tape measure and the size of the head. I mean, if you know, if it's for a specific person, the size of the head that you're making the hat for. And what we do is we do head circumference divided by 3.14. So I'm just going to write this down. My head circumference is 58 centimeters. You can also measure it in inches. It works out just the same. So 58 divided by 3.14. So 58 divided by 3.14. Equals 18.47. So I'm just going to round that up to 18.5, so it's 18.5 centimeters. I don't know what that is in inches. What's my head circumference in inches? So my head circumference is 23 inches. We'll work that out as well. 3 inches divided by 3.14. So I've just done that. So what was it? 23 divided by 3.14 is 7.3. So we'll just say 7 because it's going to stretch. So in that case, I'll probably round that other one down to 18 centimeters. Yeah, round it down because your hat's going to stretch. Alrighty, so with those measurements, grab hold of your trusty crown of your hat and your tape measure, and that measurement that we need, 18 centimeters or 7 inches, is how big we need the, is it diameter? Oh God, I've forgotten about maths here. Pretty sure it's diameter. Anyway, the width of your beanie has to be the size that you got here. So I need 18 centimeters and mine's only 13.5. So I need to keep increasing to 18 centimeters. But I'm actually going to make this for a little person. I have a favourite little person I'll make this one for. So I don't quite need that size. But that was just an example of how to work it out. So if it was you're working it out in inches, I need 7 inches, which is all the way over here. So I would need to keep increasing until, when measured across, it works out to be 7 inches. So do you understand that? I'll just put that there one more time so you can see. Head circumference divided by 3.14 equals whatever that number is the width from one side to the other. Okay? Or if you don't know the head circumference, this is another way to work it out. So you don't know the head circumference, but you want to see how big this is going to be. So what you do is you measure across. So that's 14 centimeters. and then times by 3.14. That is the approximate head size this hat is going to fit. So that's another way to do it. If you didn't know the head size that you've, say you're making it for a craft market or anything like that, you just want to make any size, you know that if you measure that across and then times it by 3.14, it will give you approximately that head circumference. So that is a really handy tip. I only discovered that recently. One of my Facebook followers shared that with us. So that is a fantastic tip, and I've actually been using that. I love it when we get all these great tips. It helps us so much with crochet. So I will show you the next round if you need to add this. Oh, and I'll also put some sizing charts in the information box below the video. I will put in Bev's Country Cottage. They have excellent sizing charts there, so they give you the head circumference, so that's the measurement around the outside, and also heights of hat. They have their height if you wanted to add a brim or a turn-up cuff, so you may need to just adjust that measurement. So to continue with the next row, what we need to do is chain up 3. And what did we do on the row below? Let's have a look. We did 3 stitches in between the increases. So this row needs to be 4 stitches. So working the first stitch, that's 1, because we ignore that first one, remember, so that's 1, 2, I've drawn on my own fingernail, oh well, I have to ignore that from now. So that's 1, 2, 3, and we need 4, don't we, because we had 3 on the previous row. Let's just double check, make sure we don't make a mistake. Yep, so we had 3 on the previous row, so we need 4, not including that stitch there, so that's 4. The next stitch we are going to work an increase. We are going to work 4 stitches by themselves, so that's 1 in the next stitch, 2, next one, 3, next one, 4. So that's 4 stitches, 1, 2. There's an increase, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then increase in the next stitch. And you will continue this around. And if you need to make more increase rows, what you're doing is adding 1 stitch on each row. So this stitch, this row, there's our increases. We've got 4. The next row you'll have 5 in between. The next row you'll have 6 in between, and so on. You just add 1 more every time we add a row. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we work our increase, and we'll continue this around until we get back to the beginning of the row. So once we've ended on our increase, we want to join to the first double crochet, and this pattern works over multiples of 10. So that means that the final number of stitches around the outside must be divisible by, or dividable, whatever, by 10. So because we started with 10 stitches and each row we've increased by 10, then we should have a number that can be divided by 10. Now I have 60 stitches. If you did another row you may have 70. If you did a row less you'll probably have 60. So to start our pattern, what we need to do is chain 3. We are going to work a double crochet over the next 2 stitches. We're going to work a chain 3, making sure our chains are tight when we do our chains. And we're going to slip stitch down into the bottom into that next stitch. We're going to slip stitch across the next 3 stitches. We don't want to work our slip stitches tight. We want to make a chain 3, but we do want to make our chain stitches tight. Over the next 2 stitches we're going to work a double crochet. We're going to work chain 3 and then go back down the bottom and work our slip stitch. So this is what it's looking like so far. We are going to slip stitch over the next 3 stitches. And we're going to work a chain 3, making sure our chains are tight. We're going to work a double crochet over the next 2 stitches. We're going to chain 3. And we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. We're going to slip stitch over the next 3, and can you see a pattern forming here? We're repeating what we're doing all the way around. We're going to chain 3, double crochet into the next 2 stitches. We're going to work a chain 3 and slip stitch into the next stitch. So we're going to repeat that all the way around, slip stitching over 3 stitches, chain 3, double crochet, chain 3 and slip stitch down until we get back to the beginning. So I have my 2 little stitches to go there, and I'm going to slip stitch into those. I've already cut my yarn, so working slip stitches into those 2, and then we just slip stitch into our 3rd stitch, but we're actually going to slip stitch just into the bottom of the stitch there, bottom of the chain 3. Chain 1, cut your yarn and pull up. So it's now time for the next row. I'm just going to move my camera down a bit. Grabbing your new colour, and from now on we work in the back loops only. So getting just the back loop. The dog is next to me and he's snoring. I think I'm going to have to kick him out. So just pull down on your strand at the back there and work your 3 chains. We're going to double crochet into the next stitch, but we're going to go into the back loop. And in this pattern we are joining in the back loop, not the front one. We're going to chain up 3, we're going to double crochet and go into the back loop only. Double crochet in the next stitch, working through the back loop only, and from now on we're working in the back loops. We're going to chain 3, we're going to slip stitch into the back loop. So normally we'd pick up this front loop here and the back, but we're just going into the back for a slip stitch. We skip over these chain 2s here and we work a double crochet in each of the 2 stitches down there, working into the back loop only. So double crochet and double crochet in the next one. we need to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3, working the back loop only. We're going to chain 3 and then work a double crochet in the next 2 stitches in the back loop. Chain 3, oops, and then slip stitch into the back loop only of the chain 3. Work a double crochet back down there into the back loop only. Can you see a pattern forming now? So we're double crocheting down in here. So the 2 stitches down in there we double crochet. What have I done there? There we go. Just reworking that stitch, it looked a bit funny. We are joining to the back loop of that chain 3. Chaining up 3. So this is the pattern that we are going to be doing in every row, just you will change colours. It's a chain up 3, 2 double crochets, a chain 3 and slip stitch, go down into the section down the bottom there, work 2 double crochets, slip stitch, chain up 3, back loops only for 2 double crochets. So they're going in their own stitch, those double crochets, chaining 3. This yarn keeps splitting, it's annoying me. Join into the top of the chain there with a slip stitch, because that's the top of the step, and then we will need to work down the bottom. See how it dips down there? We're going to be working in this section here. So it's double crochet into the back loop only. This can be a little bit hard to get into, as you can see, but on the next row it won't be that hard because we'll only have a double crochet and not a slip stitch to go into. So into the next stitch, back loop only, so it's double crochet, and then we're closing up that little section, so we're doing a slip stitch into the chain 3, we're chaining up 3, working a double crochet next 2 stitches, working in the back loops only, chaining 3, working a slip stitch down here into that top of that chain 3, and we're working this all the way around, so if you've got the idea just keep going. So we need to go down into the step, so it's double crochet into the back loop only, so it's 2 there, we're slip stitching into the back loop, chaining up 3, and I'll finish this one off and then I'll meet up with you on the next section. Double crochet in the top, chain 3, join to there, doing a double crochet in the back loop, and then join to the chain stitch, and then continue on, and you are going to repeat this all the way around until we get back to the beginning. Okay, I'm up to the end of the row and I'm at the top of my step up here. I've done my chain 3 and slip stitch down to here, And then we just need to join that gap that we've got here. So we're just going to slip stitch into the top of the chain there, and then pull that tight. And that will just make sure your row continues around. And like, you can change colours whenever you want to. On the one I did, the biggest size one that I've done, this one here fits me. Let me just move up a bit. I did one row of the grey, then I did of the darker grey. I did 2 rows of the light, and then 2 of the dark, 2 of the light, and then I'll show you what I did here to finish off the border. But you could change colours every row. You could do more than 2 rows of one colour. It's really up to you. So I will show you, it's basically the same as what we did. Well, it is the same as what we did on the last row. We just repeat that row around, and then we just change colours when we want to. So I'll just quickly show you the first few steps of this row, but it is the same as the last. It's just chaining up 3 and then going into back loops only, working a double crochet, joining to the top of the chain 3 with a slip stitch, chain up 3, working into the back loop for a double crochet for those 2 stitches, chain 3 and slip stitch down. And now that we've got a few rows of the pattern done, you can see the steps starting to form. So after you've done up the top step, you need to go back down to the bottom. So back loop only, so this is going to be a lot easier than working when we did on a previous row into our slip stitches. Here we go. And then joining to the chain 3. Now you'll continue this pattern on for as many rows as you like. I am going to show you how to, grab the other hat. I am going to show you how to do this part here, because it's just slightly different, that little grey bit in there and then this row here. So I'll show you how to do that. But this is an adult size hat using worsted weight yarn. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows altogether. Of course, if you've got a smaller hat, you are going to need less rows. I will put the link below, well, down there, in the more info box to show you hat sizes. So this one's only a small one. This is one for a little small little guy. So I will catch up to you when we're ready to put our border on. I'm going to finish off with one row of the lighter colour, then I'm going to do the border colour in the dark grey. You can have that any way you like, but this is how I'm going to do mine. So grabbing your grey, just switching colours. Sorry guys, just getting organised. What we're going to do is in the bottom of the step, so in here we are doing the 2 double crochets, but then across the top part we're going to slip stitch. So working a chain 3 for our first double crochet, double crochet into the next one, and across the top here, so these 4 stitches, we are going to work a slip stitch. So this is just normal, the slip stitch. Then we're going to slip stitch into the next one, the next double crochet, and then slip stitch into the chain that's there as normal. Then we're going to work double crochets in each of these ones. Still working the back loops only. Just grabbing some more yarn. We're going to slip stitch over here as normal. Oops. Slip stitch across the next 2 double crochets. And then slip stitch into the chain as normal. Double crochet down into here. So repeat that all the way around, double crocheting into the bottom with the 2 there, and then slip stitching across the top up there. So I'm back around to where we started, and we're going to slip stitch into the double crochet that's there. And now we're going to work 1 row of half double crochet all the way around, and this is going to neaten off the band on our hat. So you can work these in the back loops only, you could work this through both loops, it is completely up to you. You get different looks by using different stitches. Back loops only will give you a little ridge here, and both loops won't. So working a half double crochet, and where you've got your slip stitch there, you're just going to pick up that back loop. That might be a little bit tricky to grab hold of there. If you were going to use a single crochet for the border, you could do that also. Don't work it too tight, otherwise it's going to make your hat smaller around the brim. Alrighty, so we're just working across. Continuing on until we get back to the beginning of our row. We've worked all the way around, and then we're going to join into both loops to finish off our row. Go, get it right. So if you want to do another row, chain 1, half double crochet into the same stitch, and then half double crochet into the back loops all the way around, and you can just repeat that for as many rows that you like. But I actually have enough rows for the length that I need. So I'm just cutting my yarn, pulling tight, grabbing somewhere to the sewing needle. And then we're going to sew our tails in. I always do it to the back of my work because I think that looks better. It's hiding around the back instead of around the front. So just hide your yarn underneath. That's the dog, by the way. He really wanted to get into this video, didn't he? And then we're just going back there across so we can weave in our tails. So please subscribe to my videos because there will be a lot more videos coming and you wouldn't want to miss out on one. So we need to just sew in any ends that we've got there, and I've definitely got one from the beginning. So I'll just tuck those in there so pretend they're done. And that is so cute. This is going to, is about 6 months, this little one. And it's going to look so cute. I hope it fits. If not, I've got a present for someone else. I can just make another one. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please share out your creations, I should say, on the Facebook page. We've also got Ravelry, and you can email me your creation if you'd like. Email address is in the box below the video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, happy crochet.